Welcome
Working?
back, everybody. Yeah. Hi, Lindsey. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is one of our last sessions. It's been an incredible day, so I'm going to go ahead and just let Lindsey introduce herself and just.
Thank you, Mariana. I appreciate it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to my session. Sorry for starting a little late. We had some technical difficulties, but I really appreciate everybody joining. The title of today's session is Cultivating Lasting Daily Habits, but I actually want it to be just cultivating lasting habits in general. So let me just go to the next slide quick. The agenda for today, just going to do a quick intro, do a check-in and an icebreaker, talk about hinge points, and then summary and action items. So for those that don't know me, welcome. I am Lindsey. I am a technical recruiter in my day job, a yoga teacher outside of my day job, and very much a recovering perfectionist. The goal of today's session is to identify points of our day that we are able to shift ourselves into a more positive state of being. And before we dive into that, I want to take a moment to just think about what part of our days presently cause us the most friction. So you can think about that internally. And I also want to invite everybody to grab a pen and paper just to have handy. I think that would be really helpful. And as we think about that, I just want to do a quick icebreaker and see how everybody's feeling. It's really hard to read a room when we're not all in the same room. So if anybody just wants to drop an emoji in the little conversation box, just a quick little check-in, that would be awesome. Oh, it pops up on the screen. I love that. Brain exploding. I feel that. Sunglasses. I'm about it, Holly. Hello. Upside down smiley face. We love to see it. Not really, but that's all right. I'm so happy that you are all here. And now that we all did that, I hope everyone's ready to just talk a little bit about habits. And yeah, we're going to do that. So how do we know it's time to make a change? Internally, you might be feeling a lack of energy. You might be feeling really low on creativity. You might have a short fuse with family members, loved ones, even coworkers. And in general, you could just be experiencing high stress. So today we're going to explore how habits don't need to be daily to be effective. And that's where we're going to talk about hinge points. So a lot of all of the books and all of the podcasts are you need to wake up at 5 a.m. and do XYZ to be successful and yada, yada, yada. And that's not necessarily factual. The idea around hinge points were actually shared with me through a therapist of mine who learned it from a therapist of hers. And they are essentially the same concept about how the hinges of a door help keep the door moving. Hinges are points during the day that make it significantly easier for you to remain motivated. So when they're not in place, it's just a lot harder to get shit done, essentially. Pardon my French. For those that don't know me, I apologize. So everyone's hinge point is very unique to their situation. And we all have more than one. So like I mentioned, they are the things that help get you and keep you going. And on a piece of paper, I want us all to just take a moment and write out 3 columns, have an internal, an external, and then weird and wacky. So those are the different types of hinge points and start to think about different things that you do that leave you feeling inspired, uplifted, energized. And at the same time, also think about things you do that leave you feeling tired and disheartened and just generally run down. So I'll just leave a moment for us to jot that down on a piece of paper, internal, external, weird and wacky, and we're going to explore the different pieces of each. So the internal hinge points that people have, they're things that are in your control. So think about the amount of sleep you get, the type of food you eat, the type of exercise you have, different acts of self-care. So think like massages, therapy, swimming. Well, that's an exercise, but things of that nature. And then environment as well. So how you make your bed in the morning, are the dishes done? How clean is the space you work in? Are you surrounded by plants? So all of that is in your immediate control. External hinge points are being motivated by things outside of yourself. So could be being a part of a team or being a part of a family. It could be a support network that you rely on. It could also be having an accountability coach or partner to keep you accountable to the things you say you're going to do. It could also be helping and servicing others, or just being generally competitive. Like if you are on a team of people and you know that you need to hit this goal, you want to hit this goal because it's a team and you also want to win. Sometimes external motivations could be having some or no options, or just generally moderate pressure. And then under the weird and wacky column, a couple of things that can be motivating for people is needing to do something that you don't think anybody else can do, or needing to compete against people, but only if you're guaranteed to win. So if you're like a runner and you want to motivate yourself, you could ask me to go for a run and you know you're going to beat me. A couple of other weird and wacky ones is needing to wear something very unique to stand out and be noticed, or having to have attention, and generally extreme pressure as well. So things to keep in mind as you're thinking about your hinge points is some of you will have no internal, no external, or no wacky. Many of us will have a mix of the three, and a realistic goal is to identify 2 to 3 of your main hinging points that you can set into place that will literally get you to do anything. And another thing to keep in mind is these can also change and shift over time. So I'm just going to come back to this slide that lists the 3 different pieces out. And I never done something twice. I like that, Eric. I want to just take a pause for a moment and give you all the opportunity to write a little bit. And if anyone wants to, I think you can raise hands and come up and talk with me, or you can just post something in the chat and share some of the things that are you think might be your hinge points. That would be cool too. I know for me, my hinge points are having a clean space, getting exercise, making really good food, and kind of giving myself a reward, like a dog. I'm like, oh, if I do X, Y, Z, then at the end of the day, I get to go do this fun thing. That's something that motivates me.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anybody wants to raise a hand and come chat with us, we can bring you up on stage. And I totally feel you, Linz, especially I feel like this, especially this week with the show, I haven't been doing any of those things, but
well, I was doing the PowerPoint. I was updating this PowerPoint since the last time I had given this talk, and I was thinking about it, because if I don't have a deadline, I'm not going to do it. And I finished this last night, and I think that that's just really funny about giving us talk on motivation and not having any motivation to do anything.
Right. Or needing to work under extreme pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I extreme pressure is definitely one of my weird and wacky hinge points for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
there's a
so
raised hand if you want
oh,
to.
it is.
Let's bring Eric on stage.
All right, let's
There
do
he
it.
is.
Hello, Eric.
Hello.
How are you?
There is my picture.
There you are.
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain.
Very good. I figured since I already gave one of mine, I might as well give one or two others.
Yeah.
The definitely the sleep is one of them for me. I think being able to like set good bedtimes and like I'm gonna get up at this time is definitely a big part of my routine. And I think for me, like promising other people that I'm gonna do something. Like I know if I tell someone like, "Hey, I'm gonna have this done on this day," it'll actually make me get it done.
Yep. I feel
Especially
that.
if there's no actual deadline to whatever it is I'm doing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And one thing to note is like we might not like our hinge points. Like I don't like running, but I always feel better after I run. Always.
I don't like the feeling of that I don't want to do something twice because it gets me stuck when I want to try something new and I'm like, but I don't want to have to like go back and fix it and do something that's really terrible. So that's something I've definitely been working on lately is like, okay, if I'm going to want to learn something new, I'm going to have to be okay with making a crappy product at the beginning.
Yeah. Got to make mistakes in order to figure it out sometimes.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Eric. Thank you for
thank you.
sharing.
Oh, thank you for sharing. All right. So hopefully we're all feeling good with the notes that we've made. So just like, what are your hinge points? What, like, ask yourself some questions to ask that might help you more easily uncover what motivates you. Is like, when do you feel the most motivated? When do you feel like you're moving the slowest? And maybe taking time to reflect on when you've performed the best in the past. So for me personally, again, I know I perform the best when I'm in a warmer environment. I am moving my body consistently. I'm drinking enough water. I'm eating foods that I cook from scratch. And I'm very organized. Like if my space is cluttered, I just don't function very well. So I definitely am more internally motivated than I am externally motivated, but other folks might be more externally motivated than they are internal. So again, just my hinge points, having a clean and organized space, plants. I have a very set coffee routine that I do most every morning. I need to get a full night's sleep. I also love waking up early and moving my body so that way I'm able to focus on deep work that I don't necessarily want to do. The other external hinge point I have is just working on something that's going to get me closer to my long-term goal, and then extreme pressure to deliver an end result, aka this presentation. So I liked this quote. It's never too late to change your life for the better. You don't have to take huge steps to change your life. Making even the smallest changes to your daily routine can make a big difference to your life. And I want to kind of begin to end the presentation is how can we weave some of these hinge points we've identified into our lives? I'm a huge believer in scheduling things. I don't know how well y'all can see my video, but like I have this little planner that personally I find very helpful. I know not everybody is a pen and paper type person. Some people are Google calendars, others are not at all. But just making it a point to implement some of these things into your life. And again, it doesn't have to be daily. Like I go hiking 3 times a week, 3-4 times a week, yoga twice a week, because when we have the idea that something has to be daily in our head and we don't actually do it daily, we get really hard on ourselves and then completely take the momentum out of any forward movement that we have going. So whatever you're not changing, you are choosing, but also allow yourself the grace to figure out what exactly your hinge point and routines are. So be patient with yourself. Good habits are hard to make, but easy to live with. And bad habits are easy to make, but hard to live with. So I think that's all I have. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. I hope that it was helpful and you found a couple of nuggets of wisdom. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, definitely feel free. I love talking about habits, mindfulness, yoga, and just like being a human in talent acquisition in general. But yeah, does anybody have anything they want to share? Any questions or?
Yeah, I see in the chat messages like Tina saying, it's so hard when you already go to bed late and then get up early to add exercise in the morning, or
Yeah.
kind of like the points that Eric was mentioning or what you were mentioning. And I think going back to Marie's session yesterday, I think the current expectation in the job market is that you need to be an overachiever. You need to be good at multitasking. You need to be working under pressure the whole time, and we forget about self-care. We forget about doing the things that actually make us be more productive and more efficient at our jobs. So I really appreciate your presentation today, Lindsey.
Yeah, likewise. I am really glad that everyone tuned in, and thank you all for giving me an opportunity to speak and share a little bit on this topic. So
Amazing.